how to deal with rejection and recover from rejection when you are dating. Hello and welcome to this episode of How to Love Successfully with me, Dr. Mari Kovanen. I'm a registered psychologist and a conscious dating and relationship coach. And in this podcast, we'll talk everything and anything that affects you and your relationships as a high-achieving woman. Whether you are right now dating or you're thinking about dating, we will talk about topics that will help you to either get ready to date or date in a more successful way and build a conscious relationship in the future. And today we'll be talking about rejection resilience and how to build that. But first of all, would you like to know what kind of topics to cover, questions to ask in your pre-qualifying call before you go on the first date or before you agree to go on the first date? When you are then on your first date, or whether you're thinking about going on a second date with someone. There are certain things that you need to establish so that you're not wasting your time and you know whether this person has potential for dating longer or even hopefully in the long term to become your life partner. I've created compatibility checklist, which you can find a link to it in my show notes. And there you will have 20 most important first date questions to ask and to know if he is wasting your time or if he has potential. So go and grab that and it will help you to decide whether to go on the date or whether to continue dating someone. Let's go back to our topic today. So, rejection resilience. And rejection, of course, is part of dating. But there is a way to date in a way that reduces the risk of rejection. So perhaps you are now dating, you might be even worried about starting dating because you're worried about rejection. And so many people ask me, how can I protect myself from dating? Because I'm really worried about online dating or someone contacting me and starting to build some sort of communication and then disappearing. And I feel lost. Have I done something? And I start to question myself, perhaps. Or maybe you went on a first date or a couple dates even, and it felt like it was going well. And the other person, whether they disappeared or they decided that it wasn't for them, although there were no clear signs. And this may even be putting you off dating completely. But here I want to share with you 7 points and help you with building rejection resilience. And if we start from the very beginning, number 1, it's really about getting to know yourself and getting away from autopilot dating. And what is autopilot dating? Autopilot dating is what most people do. Most people who go out on dates decide, okay, I think I want to be in a relationship. What can I do to get into one? Okay, I'll go and register with some online dating apps or perhaps some other services. I'll create a profile. I'll tell something about myself. Okay, what kind of person am I looking for? Someone who's got a good job, someone who maybe has some similar interest, maybe certain values. And perhaps that's that. And then maybe you have a certain type that you are looking for or certain idea of a person that you want to meet. And most people go and date in this way without spending too much or putting too much effort into really establishing what type of relationship are they looking for and what would that relationship look like in reality. What are their needs in a relationship and what are they wants in a relationship? What are the non-negotiable facts? What are the must-haves? Because when someone goes autopilot dating, it is like you are literally just turning up without creating any filter for yourself in any ways, or creating even any kind of protective layer. And you put yourself out there in the rawest possible way. You'll just turn up and you hope for the best. This is why I recommend that you, before you start dating, or even if you're dating right now, you turn the attention inwards first. And so stopping this autopilot dating is number one, and becoming more conscious. And number two is now then increasing your self-awareness. Increasing your awareness of what you bring to a relationship, what do you want in a relationship, what type of behaviors do you want to see in a relationship. But even more importantly, who are you as a person? Who are you in a relationship? What have been your patterns in relationships? What has worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? Really becoming clear on all of that. And this is, of course, something that I help my clients to work through and really understand before they start dating. It is really one of the first step in my dating coaching program is to increase self-awareness and go into real depth of understanding yourself and what is maybe holding you back in relationships. And then number three is self-acceptance, which this all are linked to each other. So self-acceptance and learning to love yourself with warts and all. And this can feel sometimes quite difficult. But if you are practicing real curiosity about yourself and learning about yourself, you can start to see yourself and all different parts of yourself and really see this humanness of yourself. You don't need to be this perfect person to find love. You can be yourself, and we all have those parts of ourselves that we are not so proud of, but you also have those parts of yourself that you may appreciate more, and hopefully you do. And it is really about getting in touch with all of those and learning to love yourself as the person you are today, not the person who you want to be. Of course, it is good to work on yourself, but learning to love yourself as you are today. Number 4 is then having self-loving practices. What are those ways that help me to connect with myself on a daily basis, not just once in a blue moon, but making yourself a priority in your life? Every day, how can I learn more about myself? How can I be more curious about myself? How can I connect with myself? How can I learn to ground my nervous system and understanding what triggers me? When do I need personally more support? So having those self-loving practices, whether it's in form of mindfulness, meditation, journaling, all of that kind of stuff. And when you have established those first kind of 4 foundations, then it's about your standards and boundaries. Your standards and your boundaries are real protective factors in rejection. You set certain standards for yourself and for those people around you, and this energy will radiate from you. So those boundaries will communicate about how you want to be treated. And if someone is not on the same page, they will self-select out. And that is absolutely fine, because you don't need to be wasting time on someone who is not interested in being on the same page with you. So those boundaries really help to protect you from unnecessary heartache and rejection. Number 5 was about standards and boundaries. And then number 6 is about separating yourself from the outcome. So when you go on your dates, You focus on yourself, how to make yourself feel good about you. And when you go on dates, see it as like a job interview. Not that you need to be so formal as when you're having a job interview, but you can see when you go on job interviews, it's about finding the right fit. And this may mean that you have to go to several interviews, several dates until you meet that right person. When you set standards and you learn about the other person on the pre-qualifying call, that is reducing the risk of wasting your time and also risk of rejection. So that's why the compatibility checklist that I've created can be a really helpful tool in terms of reducing the noise and reducing you wasting time on people who are not compatible with you. I go and download that, and the link is in the show notes. I have created it exactly for this reason. So when you go on your date and you separate yourself from the outcome, my job, in quotation marks, it is my task here to learn about this other person, feel their energy, and see if there is something between the two of us that signifies to me that I want to get to know this other person more. But if that is not the right person, they may well see I didn't feel anything in here, or I didn't feel that there was reason for us to continue. And then that is absolutely fine. It is part of the process. In a way, try to take it not personally, because that person, if they decide that you are not their cup of tea, that's absolutely fine, because that's redirection in the universe. This is a redirection towards the right person, and that person is self-selecting. And if you detach yourself from the outcome and say, okay, I'll go and really observe, I go and find out and learn about this person. If that person is not for me, it's not because I'm a bad person or there's something wrong with me. It is just that we are not the right match to each other. And that is absolutely fine, because in the world, there's about 7 billion people. So there will be someone out there if it's not that person yet. And then number 7, if the inevitable happens that you perhaps like someone more than they are interested in continuing with you, please practice self-compassion. Suffering is part of human condition, and you, like anyone else on this planet, deserves compassion. So please speak to yourself with the same compassion you would speak to your very best friend, and be kind. It really sucks. It's difficult when you maybe start to develop feelings towards someone and they decide that you are not their cup of tea. But it is important to practice this slow dating. And slow dating means that you're really getting to know someone instead of jumping in the bed with them really quickly, because that's when you get burned. So practice slow dating. And if it happens that you get rejected, which you may feel rejected when someone perhaps contacts you online and you have certain conversations and then they disappear. But that is not personally about you. There may be some other things going on for that person. So again, practice that detaching yourself from the outcome and seeing dating as a process. It is a process like looking for a job or looking for a new place to live or something like that. And yes, it can feel hard at times. And it is why I've created a 3-month-long dating coaching program, which starts from creating this beautiful relationship with yourself or deepening that, and getting to know yourself and knowing who you want to attract, who you want to be in a relationship with. And then only when you have clarity on yourself, you start to go towards dating. And then knowing how to date in a more strategic way, in a way that you're not wasting time on the wrong people. So if you're interested in learning more about them, please book your free 30-minute consultation call and we can talk about what is perhaps not working for you in dating and how dating coaching could help you. And let's recap those 7 points again. So, number 1 was about no autopilot dating again, about dating with consciousness. Increasing your self-awareness was number 2. Number 3 was learning to love yourself with warts and all, so self-acceptance. Number 4 is about self-loving practices. Number 5 is about standards and boundaries. Number 6 is about separating yourself from the outcome. And number 7 is practicing self-compassion. I hope this was useful for you. And if you did find it useful or you learned something new, please go and leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform, because that way other women get to hear this message too and learn about how to create a conscious relationship from day one. And please remember, give yourself the love you're seeking, and that way you will attract the love you want. Bye for now. See you next time.